Hello everyone. It's the follow-up live. I got caught on a phone call, so I apologize for the delay in the live stream. And then Matt and Sarah messaged me, "Hey, no live stream. What's going on? Where are you? What's going on?" So we're live. So the link is posted. So come on in. Hey, Steve, good to see you, bud. Bradley, good to see you. Come on in and tell us what's going on in your world, your beekeeping world or your regular world. Whatever you choose to talk about, it's fine. Hey, Michael, good to see you. So, yep, this is a follow-up. You guys already know, been outside, saw my yard, just hanging out, trying to get things going in the right direction here this year. Hopefully this nectar flow we've got started keeps on going. I don't know when we're looking at rain. Let me see if I can see when the next time I'm supposed to get some rain. Next Wednesday. So we got a whole week of getting ready for rain. And then next week we got supposed to be rain 2 days, depending if the weatherman is correct or not. So we'll have to see. Ran the wheel off your mower. and so that's what we're doing around here. Hey, Alex, good to see you. DC, good to see you again. And just hoping, knock on wood, we have a good nectar flow that stays going. But we have a problem out here called heat that and it will turn everything brown. Grass, everything will go brown. So, hey, Dennis, good to see you. And then we have problems right after that. So hopefully it'll stay nice and green. We'll get rain every few days or, every other week or so and keep things kind of green and lush would be nice. Today it was in the high 80s. I didn't even know David was live, guys. I apologize if I interrupted David. I typically don't check who's live and who's not. I apologize if I interrupted something you're watching on. I'm sure there'll be people that stay on there and come over. Yeah, see, Alex, that's the problem. Bro, I have the same problem. That's why I open feed. And I open feed especially when I feed my smaller hives, right? So I'll put it on the small hives, but I put the open feed out first and let the big colonies find it, and then put this feed on the small colonies. And it's one of those things that, it's trial and error. You never know. Never know. Oh, look who we got here. Charles in charge. Hey, Charles. Hey. Good to see you.
Yeah, I just got off another Zoom chat from the local bee club.
Another beekeep. Are you two-timing me?
So, yeah, it's a Facebook bee club I belong to.
I had a call right after I got off. I was live outside. Right after I got off that live, I got a call from Amir had sent me a message. I called him back. And then while I'm on the phone with Amir, James called me and I didn't get back with him, but I sent him a message saying, hey, I'm going live. So maybe he pops in. I don't know. We haven't seen old James in a few days. He's been busy, busy getting stuff done. And that's one of the reasons.
His big thing is all that traveling.
Yeah, he's got a lot of traveling to do, right?
I presume he went down and laid over. I don't know what he was driving that night.
Yeah, he drove 22 hours round trip to make sure his nukes made it.
Did he sleep any or not?
Well, I didn't talk to him the next day. I didn't talk to him till the beginning of the week.
Oh, what I'm getting at is, did he drive 11 hours and then go to bed and then?
Oh, he stopped for, I think he took a 4-hour nap on the road. in between. So
I mean, that's pretty hard. That's pretty hard. Trying to do that. I don't see how he can do it.
especially at his age. I used to do it when I was young, could run the roads like that, but yeah, now it's not thing. Ryan said, order that Apis Biologics. Charlie, I'm in Southern Maryland. Black locust starting to bloom.
Really?
So we got. I've been noticing our here.
What county? Yeah, what county are you in, Ryan? Down there in Charles.
Here
Anyway,
we got some of my trees are blooming, and it's the weirdest thing because I keep noticing the flowers on the ground, and they're just like falling off of the tree. They're little tiny flowers. It looks like snowflakes falling. And then looking at the tree, they fall when the bees when they're working those little flowers, they're knocking the flowers off as they're doing it. And it's so I can look on the ground and I kind of can tell how they're working it based on the amount of flowers on the ground. So it was pretty neat. That's how my last little live video started. So so I figured out, Charlie, this is what I do in the box. I figured it out.
What's that?
So I'm still waiting on stuff to come in for my honey rustler, for a lack of a better word. And this is the first bottle that we're going to try it in. So if you get one in this bottle, this would be version 1. So it's going to be a 2-ounce concentrate, and you'll take half of this and put it in your own squirt bottle.
Yeah.
And fill it the rest of the way up with water. And that'll give you, one of these bottles will give you basically 2 32-ounce squirt bottles of honey rustler to help clear your honey supers out. So it's a 2-ounce bottle, and it'll make 64 ounces of product. Now,
this is a not swarm lure. It's
this is what you would spray on your fume board.
Fume board, yeah.
Okay. To clear your honey super out. So why did I decide to go with a concentrate at this moment? Because shipping this is cheaper, and I can use the same packaging I already have as compared to sending out 64 ounces of liquid, right? You're going to pay much more shipping. The bottle is bulky. I would have to have a bigger box. So it's a little bit different. So this is trial 1. This is the bottle size 1. So I've got to order labels. I've got the stuff to make it coming in. It's just a matter of, I think for the amount that this bottle will make, it's going to be the cheapest thing on the market. I mean, finished product to finished product, right? So I was looking over here. Fisher's Be Quick for 8 ounces is $18. That's 8 ounces of finished product, $18 from Better Bee. Then you're going to have to pay shipping, right? So just keep that in mind. But that's only for 8 ounces.
Yeah, I think I bought that at Hive Life or something like that. It's good stuff. I mean, what's yours going to smell like? Almonds?
Yes.
Good.
So it's all natural, food safe, all that same stuff as my swarm lure. It's just going to be a, let me see. And then they got like, okay. So Honey Bandit, a Honey Bandit 8-ounce bottle is $21.95.
It's expensive.
So if I sold this bottle of concentrate at the same thing as my swarm lure, you would get, all right, so let's do finished product to finished product. So 64 divided by 8, right? Would be 8 bottles. So 8 times 21 $195 from Man Lake would mean you would have to spend $175.60 to get the same finished product. So there will be no price comparison. The price comparison, there won't be any competition when it comes to price. So that's the
how do you, what's your mixing rate on that?
Yep. So this, you'll basically put half of this in your squirt bottle, in your 32-ounce squirt bottle, like from Lowe's, the WEP or whatever they call it. You just put half of it, 1 ounce in, and throw it in the floor. And then you'll fill it the rest of the way up with water and shake it. And you're done. So I think it'll be
yeah, but your concentrate, you say 1 ounce or half that bottle?
Well, this is a 2-ounce bottle. So 1 ounce is half of this bottle.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right,
And we got this bald guy that's wanting to pop in. We'll let this joker in. Oh, wait a minute. What happened? I don't see his video. Do you see his video?
No. I say guy.
There he is.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of grainy looking and cutting up a little bit.
I don't know what's going on.
It's that the broadband is frozen, literally. Did you guys get snow again?
No, it's raining like you wouldn't believe.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's Matt and Sarah. See, he doesn't even put out his Matt's engraving channel or anything on there.
Nah. What for?
You might get a couple subs, couple 2, 3, 25 that are watching if they're not subscribed.
It's just the interweb. No one's watching.
25 people are watching.
I'm going to try to do hotspot. Maybe it'll be better. So I went out, checked my hives, and I lost 2 more. And I don't know. There's 1 alive for sure, but I might be down to 1 now.
So why do you figure you lost the colonies?
I fed them when it was got up to 90, and I don't know. I lost 2 since then. But we had snow. It's been really wet now. It's been cold. So I don't know what's going on.
So you put liquid feed on them, or what'd you put on them?
Yeah. I open fed because I had the other 3 colonies across the creek. I couldn't get to them because there's too much snow.
And you fed them 2 to 1 or 1 to 1?
1 to 1.
That you would think that would not be an issue because they would just bring back what they could eat, right?
Right, you think. I'm gonna try switching internets.
All right. So did they have any other stores in the colony?
Yeah.
So did you move those stores like closer to the brood cluster? Did you like move them in? And I think we lost him or are losing him.
Is it better now? No, still green.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with your thing today.
Your video is terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
It's Matt Headroom. But so did you move your I don't know if you heard the last question. Did you move the stores that you had in the colony? Did you move them closer to the cluster?
They were all. No, I didn't move anything because the cluster was over it. And the one hive I lost is the insulated hive, actually. And I was shocked. And they died out, and they were half a frame of honey they were sitting on. So I don't know what the heck was with that.
Did you find the queen in the autopsy?
No, I closed it back up because it started raining again.
Why? They were already dead.
Yeah, I didn't want to get wet.
Hey, poop floats. You'll be fine.
It's been hailing off and on today, too. It's been nuts weather today.
That's tough. The late season losses. I go through that too sometimes here. Those ones right before spring starts when they start running low on food, and James and those guys in Canada say the same thing, is that as they're down as far as they can get, right, colony size wise, and they have to stay clustered because of the cold, then they just don't move over to the food to get it. So I wonder if you lost the queen like ahead of time, and then was there any brood in there? Did they have any brood?
I didn't look too much. Well, there was a little bit of cat brood on the other frame across from the honey. I'd be curious to see if that queen is in there, because she was one that I made a split on last year. And it was later in the year, but it wasn't, it was before July. So
that's funny. I just got you going.
Yeah, let me log out and log back in and see if it works.
All right. Charlie, you been in your bees at all?
No, well, not really. I've been selling some nukes. I sold a nuke here a couple of days ago, or nights. But I found I have another customer wanted a couple more nukes, and so I finally found this one box of bees, and I could not find this queen. And all it is 5 frames. Come on.
Right.
And finally, it was one of them dark striped queens on black comb.
Super camouflage.
Super
camouflaged.
Yeah, cloak. She's probably Klingon. Cloaking device on.
Right.
Anyway, I found her. I finally seen her, and I went ahead and painted her, and so I got that one up and running for this guy. And there's another one there. I forgot that I must have painted her, because I seen her right away, yellow dot. And I don't know what that was. What was in the truck I used, something bright and yellow.
Well, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So anyway, I got those 2 nukes running. I called him tonight and said, "Hey, I got 2 boxes for you." So we're gonna get. And now you're doing much better. So we're gonna, get together next week.
Connection is better, but you don't look any better.
But I need to get into these honey hives and go through them a little more detailed. And I wanted to make another video on that one where I did a demo on it to see whether that, has been successful with no queen cells and all that kind of thing.
Right.
So, it's just trying to get time. The biggest problem I've had issues with my right leg or hip, I guess you would call it, lower back problems, and still having issues with that. You get to hurting so bad that you just don't want to do anything.
Unless you're young like Matt.
Yeah, I got out there and pushed myself to get these boxes of bees out the door before they swarm on me and that kind of stuff and that kind of thing. And so, like I say, I got 2 that are still out there. They're small enough they're not going to swarm. But my honey hive, we were talking about that. Everybody on the last chat that I just got off of 5 minutes ago, they're all talking about all these swarms and swarms and swarms. And
I haven't had any.
And well, I had this one lady, she watched my video and she did a single brood chamber thing, and she's, she had multiple queen cells in the hives, but the biggest key to all this is you can't wait till the day you need a box and a bottom board and a lid. You need to have all this stuff, at least a couple hive sets in your garage waiting, or at least several nukes. A nuke to me is like the best tool that you could possibly have, at least a couple of them. You find a frame full of a couple queen cells, no problem. Pull it out, put it in a nuke box, put some other frames with bees along with it. Keep it in the same apiary, or whatever you want to do. Take it down, down like mine here, down along one of them racks there and stick it there, and then put an 1/8 inch hardware cloth in the mouth of it so they can't get out, and then yank that thing out, after about 3 to 4 days, and then they'll stay there. You got yourself a free hive,
Right.
or a free, once she gets up and laying and everything, you can sell the nuke.
Well, I made a call yesterday.
Why is the Texas bee here? He said, I'm calling him out. What happened to him? I didn't catch his video.
You don't have to call me out in front of everyone. Oh, he's talking about probably not having boxes when he needs them.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is I've got tons of boxes. I don't have tons of frames for those boxes.
Well, I'm working on that for you. I got a friend of mine here that I've been helping, and he's got a bunch of wooden frames that he went and bought a box or two of Acorn, and we dropped that in last Saturday, I guess, at 4:30. And actually the week before that, I said, let's put, and it was two mediums. I said, let's put 10, he was an 8-frame box. He bought this guy out. So they were 8-frame stuff. So I said, let's put foundation on. So we did 8 frames of foundation in this one medium. We went back a week later, and hell, they had 90% of it drawn out. And now Queen got up there. Of course, we didn't put a Queen excluder. I said, they're not going to come up, unless. So I said, if she lays, no problem, then we'll. So she came up, she laid up. I think she laid up in the darn cells when they were just trying to build them, is what it looked like to me. So I said, okay, she's not up here. Let's put a Queen excluder in. We did. And I said, you just have to wait till all this stuff hashes out, but that's going to draw the bees up in there anyway.
Right.
And so then we put another medium foundation, 8 frames of foundation on there. And he sent me pictures. He went in there yesterday or something like that. And, they're like 50 to 80% drawn.
That's what Amir was telling me on the phone before I went live, is he says he basically did like I did with the Demaray last year, right? He moved the brood to a second box, and he left the queen in one frame and filled the rest up with foundation. And he said within 4 days, they had like half the box drawn out because of the flow. He did put feet on them to draw the comb out, but they had like half the box drawn, and she had already laid it up. So
I had a Lagrange bees up there for me. To get from 12 to 30 hives, would you get comb from only a few hives, or spread over all of to start the nukes? What I would do is, if you're going to do nukes, you can mix and match your brood comb. It doesn't really matter. As long as main thing is find your queen, isolate her, put her in a queen clip or something. Then you can pull out, where she's at. So, you're not going to kill her. Pull out them brood combs, or if they have queen cells in there, pull them suckers out.
What I do a lot is, once I find her, I just keep her on the frame in my hand while I take the other brood out with the other one into the nuke.
Put a queen clip in, and put her in a safe place where it's warm, out of the sunlight. But if you have swarm cells on these frames, put a frame of that, the frame that, let's say you have 5 frames of swarm cells. Well, then make 5 splits, and then go back in there and find, a frame of food or whatever. You're going to set that high. It depends on how many other hives you got. If you got 10 hives, you can pull 10 frames out, at least a frame or 2 out of each hive, and you're not going to set that hive back at all. That's what I'm doing now. As long
as you have drawn comb to put back in there for her to lay back in.
Yeah, well, put some foundation in there, let them draw it out.
All right, Charlie, got a question. If you have, let's say you have 3.
Questions require a super chat, sir. You got a super chat, and then you can ask.
How do I super chat? Super chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just picking.
If you had 3 hives, how would you go about? So, like, my wife is getting mad.
Expanding.
Yeah, because
Now,
our
have you got
issue.
have you got 3 hives that are like booming?
Well, I don't know that for sure, but I have one that's really heavy. So
Right.
the
Well,
wife wants honey
if you
though,
only
and I just
have
want to grow.
right, if you only have a small amount, then it's going to take longer. You know, if you have
Yeah.
12 hives that are booming, you can expand, quick.
Fast.
But if you only have 3 or 4 hives, and let's say all 4 of them are pretty darn good, booming wise, then you can take, let's say, take 2 frames out of each, I mean, 2, maybe 3 frames max out of each one. And I'm talking about, all right, let's say if you got 4 hives, and you're going to make 4 splits, then we're going to take 4 frames of brood out, put a frame of brood in each of one of those nukes, and then maybe take 2 frames of brood out. Because are we talking deeps or mediums, Matt?
Everybody uses deeps. You're the only one that uses mediums.
Okay,
Man. Why
you
you
got
even
deeps.
ask that question?
All right, well,
he just disappeared.
I'll have to wait till he gets back. If he's got deeps, then let's see if he gets back on.
Well,
Well, you'd have to go
it snowballs,
slower.
right? It kind of compounds, right? So when you have 3 colonies, you can't split as fast. And then you get 5 colonies. Well, now, heck, or 6 colonies. Now you're just taking a frame out of 3, and now you can add 2 more, right? And it just kind of exponential. Like right now, if I walk outside and you got 40 colonies,
right?
Well, you can make 15 nukes with 1 frame from each one, right? In a queen.
Well, let's say if you got 4 hives, you're going to take. All right, he's back. If you got 4 hives and they're pretty decent size wise, and they're deeps, and your brood, and I don't know what are your single brood chamber or double brood chamber deeps. Let's say if you're
I've been doing the single and then with the honey box on there. Has been the best
medium, a single, a deep, and a medium. Okay. All right. So if you got 4 hives that are pretty decent, you take 1 frame out of each. I would start out with, you could go maybe 2 nukes, I'll say. So you take 2 frames out, a couple brood frames. If they have swarm cells, take that one out, put it in a nuke. If they have 1 frame and you got a bunch of swarm cells, get your penknife out and start cutting them things off. And then take your finger or a Posco marker pen, and if you got wax, and just push it down, it gives you that divot.
We don't use Poscos anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Paint marker there. Take your paint marker from Bob and push it in the wax, and it gives you a divot. And then take that, get yourself a nice queen cell, and just kind of stick it in that divot and kind of push the sides of the wax up around it just enough to hold it, and the bees will take care of it.
All you can do is make a thumbprint,
whatever.
Can you cut that queen cell out with the plastic? Because I use the plastic foundations.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, you might damage a little more of the one it's coming off of.
Just cut into the plastic itself?
No, just scrape it off. Scrape it off. Kind of scoop underneath of it and all that. And then, you might even want to take a square, cut here away from that cell where the comb is, and then start scooping in and maybe utilize that as a little bit of can stick it on the other frame. And stick it close to where there might be brood. So that means the bees that you put in there will cover the brood and cover the queen cell. And then she'll hatch. It'll take a while. And that's what we did up here. This guy next door to me, we went through his hives, and I found this really nice looking queen cell, and or on a frame, couple of them. I said, okay. And he had a dead out. I said, put that frame over there with the bees on it, and we had found the queen, and he had about 3 or 4 hives. So we pulled frame here and a frame there and a frame there. And then we stuck it in the hive, and he had like 3 or 4 frames, in the hive. It's an 8-frame box. So, and then he had some drawn comb from the previous dead out.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
got plenty of that.
yeah, well, you that's gold right
Do you have
there.
any
So,
nuke boxes, Matt, or you just got 10 frame boxes?
Yeah, I used a lot of them last year because that's how when I got those queens from the California Beekeeper, and then I split a couple times and I used all those. I got, I think, 10 of them, 10 or 12.
Oh, you got
Yeah.
plenty then.
Yeah, I have 30
Yeah.
hives that aren't even assembled yet.
So
but
basically,
I like the nuke box because it's compact. And
Yeah.
and that keeps the cluster compact, and they'll, it's a little bit easier for them to
Expand.
so you could
well,
take literally with a 5-frame nuke, you could take 2 blank frames on the outside, a frame of food, a frame of eggs and bees, and a frame of emerging cat brood, and in 2 weeks they're going to have a queen cell, right? Queen cells. They're going to have emerging babies, and you'll be good to go. I mean, as long as the weather plays nice with you,
Yeah.
the main thing about a 5-framer is that you're manipulating that hive to where you compress or confine the bees to those frames. If you ever notice, if you put 5 frames of bees, let's say a nuke inside of a 10-frame box, and there's always them straggler bees that kind of spread out over on the outer edges. They don't do nothing. Well,
chasing
this
hive
way,
beetles or whatever.
yeah, they're doing whatever. But if you put them in a 5-frame, you got them condensed down to where they're doing a job, with, i.e., keeping everything warm, or feeding, or doing something, and they will actually do much better. And then, like I told Bob, I said, let them get big. Let's say the queen comes back and it mates, and she's laying up a storm or whatever. Let them get big. Now you've got drawn comb, no problem. Get another box and sit up on top. When they get that bottom box filled out, put another box up on top. If you got drawn comb, let them go to town. Now you got 10 frames of
Yeah.
brood and food and everything else, and that being confined like that. I mean, if you think about it, in a 10-frame box, again, what do? They're always on when they're starting at around 5 to 6 frames in the middle, and they don't get out here. And what did they do? If you put a box up on top, they move straight up like a chimney. Well, you're manipulating them with a 5-frame box. You confine them tight, and they work those 5 frames good. Let's say if they're going to draw wax or something like that. And then once you get that nucleus of a hive in the bottom good and strong, and she's lay all up and she's looking for some room, you got drawn wax, put another 5 frames on top, and they'll move up naturally, and she'll just lay everything up. Now you got 10 frames of brood and food and eggs and whatever. It's a nuke box is not just a box, it's a tool. I keep telling people, I said, this is the best little tool that you ever get a hold of.
I noticed that with the swarms that I catch, when they're in 5 framers, they'll blow up in that 5 frame pretty quick, drawing wax and everything. And then if I took, like, I've got an example outside where I've got 2 different swarms. They were both in Pro Nukes when I started. I moved one to a 5-frame nuke, and I moved one from the Pro Nuke to a 5-frame nuke, and then that 5-frame nuke into the 10-frame box. Well, the 10-frame box is not doing nearly as nice as the one in the 5/5.
Yeah.
It's just not.
They like, you're confining them tight. They like that tight cluster, and they, you've manipulated them physically to where they keep going straight up as a solid cluster of bees.
Sure.
And it just works out better that way.
I think half the issue that I have is I start, like, the season comes into it and I'm seeing everyone else doing everything, and then I get into my own head and I start watching videos, and then it's like you almost get too overwhelmed where you're just like, oh, what do I do again? But it's
Hey, that
frustrating
happened to me
too.
this year. That's why I called James, and I'm like, James, this is what I've got. I know what to do, but I just feel like I need an outside perspective.
Yeah, there's too much coming in and all from every which way, and you just don't know what to do.
And I restarted a bunch of colonies. I've got a bunch of just singles. If they fill that box up and they go into winter and they're just a single and I don't get any honey off of them, well, that's just what it is. And as long as they're strong, I'm good with that. But my thing is, in the past, I've had I've got a split, and I was making 2-week splits, right? And they just were not making it through winter like they should be.
Right.
Even our mild winter here, they just weren't doing as well as I thought they should be.
Well, I tried something new this year, and I didn't put it in the video. It's supposed to be in the video later on, but it was in February. We had a couple of nice times, and I heard some other older beekeepers, and actually Mike, he said one of the guys he talks about all the time that down the road that does commercial beekeeping, they'll put on pollen patty as it gets nice like that. Well, we had that one nice day at the end of February, so I went out there and I gave them some pollen patty, and I'm like, if they take it, they take it. Well, the hive I did it to is the hive that's busting at the seams right now. And they're still alive. They're stronger than strong.
And that's what I've been doing with these nukes. I'll go out there and I just put a little scoop right off of a hive tool, put it on top, and
I put half a patty.
Well, you guys don't have hive beetles to deal with there
as
much, so you don't have that issue. Here, if I threw a whole patty on, it would be hive beetle central, so I got to kind of monitor that, put it on more often in smaller amounts.
I also want to watch and see, and I'm going to document this year when they start laying the drones. And when I see them laying the drones, then I want to start figuring out splits and see what I can do and see what hives I can pull down. But I have to leave one for honey. But
here's Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. Well, I notice what I find is my hives will start making drones when they start getting packed. If they don't start getting packed, they don't really lay that many drones. Charlie may have,
which makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people here, oh, they got drones, and they're like, all right, swarm season. Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't know. I just don't really go by that. I look at, the last couple of years, like I say, I've been pulling brood out and equalizing, and that seems to work for the swarming problem. And the other thing is, what I noticed last year was that when I had honey supers full of bees, then I had a hive that's going to do great honey production. And then this year I really do. Now I have a couple of them out there that like the ones on the videos, there's so many bees in there. I've got a super and a half of honey already. Sure. And then in honey season, and the locusts and the poplar trees ain't even got here yet as far as blooming. And and then I've got other hives that are, they don't really have the bees up in the super yet. And they don't have a honey, they got one honey super on there. They're not doing very well at all. So and that was what I want to do, is get out there and go through those hives and start pulling frames out of the brood boxes. And then identify the weaker ones right now, so I can go in there and drop frames of brood in there and boost them up and all. So we'll see what happens.
Chris, I've seen just very few beetles right now. Just literally like 2, 3, not that many beetles at all right now. And I've been, I went this past weekend to Sam's Club. They've got a 40-pound bag of those granulated crystals that you put on the ground for grubs and ticks and all that stuff. I put that underneath the colonies and all around the colonies and all over the whole. I mean, it was so much. I mean, I was putting it everywhere, and it was like $20-something at Sam's Club. So, it's from Ortho, the one that I used. I didn't want to use the company's resources. I used my resources on that one. But yeah, beetle larvae don't fly, but the beetles do. The problem is that it's the larva that does the damage before they go back to the ground, right? So trying to break that cycle is the thing.
I'm wondering if we'll have hive beetles this year, because this is the first year we won't have that guy that comes up from Texas in our area. He left.
You probably won't. I don't think. I think Mike from Coon Lake, I don't think that he has said that he has a hive beetle problem.
Yeah, I only had him 2 years, and it was the last 2 years when it was really dry. And the guy down the road, it was less than a mile. He came from Texas, and a semi truck load of bees all the time. So, and it was only a few. It was never a lot.
Wood ash, yeah. I've got some of that somewhere around here too. A bag with some wood ash. I just don't have enough to do all of the colonies. I've got black tarp and wood chips under mine, and underneath that is diatomaceous earth that I put on last year. But other than that, I mean, as long as they're, I expect to have some. I just trying to keep them in check. You know, they do fly in, and then once they fly in, that's when the problem happens, is because of the stress it puts on the colony and the larva. I mean, it's not the beetle itself; it's the actual maggot part of it. When they lay that the problems come in. And Russell's in Minnesota. Russell, do you have a problem with hive beetles up there where you're at?
Yeah, he's southwest of me.
So it's just busy, man. I want to get to where I can take these these boxes that I have in my kitchen outside, but it's so hot that it'll just, the wax that I just rolled on them will just liquefy on the frames. So
yeah, I got to get everything out of my garage. I need the garage room. So it's all got to go outside. I got to finish them all, paint them, wax dip them, whatever. I got to get them out of there. There's too many.
You got but you know, you should be able to get some good splits. It's just, you know, especially you're probably kind of like Canada, right? So when your spring hits, it hits and everything starts blooming and they're fast and furious. Like I noticed Brian Coper's bees on his videos. They're going insane.
Yeah.
You know, down here, I've got a few hives that are popping off like that, but most of them, you just see a trickle of bees coming in and out. You know, they're just not, some of them are packed and some of them are not to that point yet, but, you know, just trying to keep them going. But I'm in that weird spot to where the nectar flow is starting, but if I put feed on a small colony, they're probably going to get hijacked. You know what I mean? So it's like, you just can't really do it. So DC's got his garage full of bee stuff too.
Yeah, it's bad.
I put Guard Star 40% with a watering can on the bottom of the hives. Most of my hives have black roofing tarp under them. Yeah, Charlie's got carpet under his, old carpet.
Yeah, I got some old carpet down. The Nukes there, they're sitting on top of blacktop. I don't really have beetles that much here. I'm kind of a rarity.
Good night, Lisa.
Not at all.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, and what you're talking about, Matt, that's the same thing I was going through, is that you start watching videos and you're like, oh, well, it's warm enough, I can do that. And then it may or may not work, right?
Right.
And for my perspective is typically when I see those videos, when I make a video, I try to put it out the same day I film it. And there's a couple reasons. First of all, if, you know, I've watched a Mike Berry video and I love Mike Berry videos, but he'll say on there the date. And then you look at the date that the video actually came out. Well, that might've been 2 weeks ago, right?
Yep.
that the video came out after he was done editing, which is fine. But then if you're north of Mike Berry, then you may or may not be needing to do what he's doing right now or last week, or you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's hard to follow like that. You know, I was watching a lot of Cayman's videos last year and the year before and the year before, you know, and I would watch Cayman's video, but Cayman's north of me. So if Cayman's doing something, well, I should have already done it, right?
Right.
So now it's like, I want to try that, but I need to wait till next year to do that. Otherwise, I could mess myself up, you know, doing something. So just one of those things, right? So I've
taking in too much information and not know what to do with it.
analysis paralysis. So, hey, Charlie, I'm looking at Man Lake's site here. Their Honey Bandit 1 gallon, which is 128 ounces, right, is $195.
We ain't buying that.
So half of it is 64 ounces, right? Which would be, I don't know, $90. No, 90. Well, it's almost $200. We'll say that for the thing. So you're probably $97.50 or something like that to get it. So, yeah, not trying to spend that kind of money. So mine will be quite a bit cheaper than that. Quite a bit. But yeah, so that's everything happening in my world.
Hey, what about that guy that you emailed about those boxes? Did they come
Do
with
what?
the jars?
Do what?
That guy that you emailed about the boxes, did they come with the jars? Remember you and I were talking on the phone last week?
Did they come with the jars?
Yeah. Remember those fancy boxes? And you were going to put honey in the jars and sell them?
Wait.
Tub-
Oh, those boxes. No,
Yeah.
they never answered me back. They never
Son
came
of a
back to
gun.
me on that. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. I mean, I don't go to market, so I don't know if that is my thing here. I have to go through Matt's funny reels he sends me every day.
I've been getting some guy that wants to.
Oh, they did come with the jars. Yes, they did. For $2.70. They came the box and the jar.
Dude, that's so worth it.
What is it? A feeder or what?
No. So here, I'll just show it to you. It's the easiest way to do
They're
it.
sweet looking.
So there's different ones, right? But yeah, this is the page. If so, come on, photos. What's going on? Let me refresh. All right, so that's a good picture right there. No, this one right here is one of the boxes that we were looking at. It says view larger image. There we go. Let's make
You
that.
say they're boxes? What are
Yes. So it's going to be hard to look at, I'm sure. Let's see if I can blow it up. So you put your jar of honey in the inside of it, right?
they? Mm-hmm.
So they're
And
cylinders.
Yeah, these are for the. There you go. There's a cylinder of honey, and it's just very classy looking box there. But there were some other ones that I sent to. I think I sent it to Brian. Let me see if I can.
If you go farther down, Bob, it was the samples of the other ones with the boxes, if I remember right.
Yeah, this one right here. The problem is it just doesn't. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, DC. There's one of them that looks like you'd open it up and you'd think it's a whiskey bottle, like it's a special reserved. It was sweet looking.
All right, so I've got it over here. Let me.
Yeah, Chris. I get my labels from Man Lake for my bears. It's just a stock label.
This one right here.
Yeah.
So it's got the hexagon bottle in it, and it comes in a hexagon box, and they will print your logo on it. So it was $2.70 for the jar and the box. So, that's something that would be like more for me in a boutique or something like that.
Yeah, I think they're cool looking.
Labels, there's plenty of cheap places for labels. You just got to kind of look around. Last year and the year before I printed my own, which now that I use Uprint for my labels for my swarm lure, I bought 2,000 labels for like $150 or something, but you design them yourself, right? You just depends on the size. So those jars and boxes from if you order 1 through 500 pieces, says it's a 2-week lead time, and I believe they're it's kind of weird trying to figure it out on here, because it says the lead time is 15 days and that it gives a price range of $1.20 to $2.70.
Yeah, so you got to figure about $3 probably of shipping, or just under.
So now you're looking at $5
per thing,
per bottle and box. So I mean, again, that's like put it in a that I think.
But you're not selling that for $5 or $10. That's selling for some good coin.
Well, it's perception, right? And they've got all kinds of different ones. They've got little cube-looking ones. This is pretty cool looking. I just don't know if they can see it very well on here. But check this one out. This is another one. Share screen. Look at this one, Matt. We didn't look at this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a little cord on it so they can pick it up. Looks like honey's dripping out of the bottom of it right there.
Yeah. You and I are geeking out over this for like an hour the one day.
And see, it's got the little, I don't know what size jar that is, but it's got the little hex jar that a lot of people sell stuff in. So
yeah, I think it'd really up your game by just doing some of those different boxes.
Yeah, but you got to be in the right location or something.
Right. You got to do it in like a boutique or something. You can't just sell it out of the back of your truck.
Hey, don't be talking about my truck like that.
Or Etsy, I guess. That's be another spot. Fancier deal.
You have to be.
This is something that somebody buys to give to somebody as a gift.
Oh yeah,
right. This isn't what you're going to carry home unless you're on Rodeo Drive. You're not going to carry this home to eat. But it's just something different, something to set you out from everybody else out there.
Yeah, even if they don't buy it, they're going to remember your name. Or if they see that logo on a littler bottle that's not in a box.
I mean, what do you think that is? About an 8-ounce jar?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Pictures are deceiving.
I don't know. You can't tell the size of it.
They've got this. how this would be something for like Brian, right? So he's got 3 different creamed honeys, right? Let's say
sure.
he's got a variety pack, or you're one of those guys that pulls out honey every couple of weeks and gets different ones, right? Then you can have 3 different honeys like that, or something like that, and it comes with the wooden spoon, right? So it's just neat little. This one comes for 3 of the little round jars there, and looks like it's got a like stuff about it in here that you can write. It's just a cool looking packaging.
Heck yeah.
And I don't know, it doesn't really say what size jar is in it. Customized logo, minimum order 500 pieces. Let's see if it says what kind of bottle. And the guy told me on the other one that it comes with the bottle, but it doesn't say anything about the bottle on the
on the actual description.
Yeah, so that's something you'd have to work out with them, right? But I mean, that there, ladies and gentlemen, is taking your game to the next level. that is. Then you got foo honey. Why would you buy Manuka when you get this beautiful black?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, even from a marketing standpoint, if you had that and someone saw it and it was like, holy cow, a jar, 12-ounce jar is, let's say, $50. I'm just throwing a number out. And they're going, I'm not going to pay that, but cool wrapping. And then all of a sudden they see your little bear with your logo on it and they buy that one for $10, $12. And then they try it and they're like, man, what does that one taste like then? It's just they remember it and it's constantly in their mind.
Well, I mean, if you got a bear, right, these are great. Don't get me wrong. Most people will buy these bears, no problem. But if it's the holidays, they're not going to buy this bear and give it to their sister. You know what I mean? But they will buy something in the box that looks very schmexy for them to put out there.
For those new charcuterie board stuff too.
Oh yeah, I forget about them charcuterie boards.
Yeah.
The shark coochie boards, as they say them down here in the South. But yeah, so I mean, that's, most people aren't thinking about honey right now, but I mean, it's April 20th. We're talking by July, that's 3 months from now.
Right.
You're harvesting your honey. So are you ready for that? Are you getting ready for that? That's why, people are saying to me, well, your swarm lure's out. It's not swarm season. Yes, I know, but I need to have it before swarm season, right? So I need to have my honey remover, if you want to call it that, before it's time to pull honey from the supers, right? That's when you need to put it out there. So that's just trying to stay ahead of the game, right? Yep. So if you're going to do honey for Christmas, well, you need packaging for your honey for Christmas type of deal ahead of time. So even though we're all thinking in our head, hey, we need to go outside and make splits tomorrow.
Well, it's like different ones back here a year ago. They couldn't get bottles. They couldn't get this or that. Well, I was lucky enough. I went and got a case of everything.
I've got 2 cases of my 1 pound squeeze bottles outside right now on the porch. And I've got plenty of lids because they come $1,700 to a case. Mm-hmm. So and I still got people coming and buying honey.
So now with inflation and everything, Charlie and Bob, have you guys raised your price on honey?
I haven't. No,
I haven't yet.
That's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. Yeah.
I mean, around here, it's going from about 10. Their boobs kind of knocking it up around 12. But the problem I have with that is I like that even money. Give me a $10 bill, give me a 20, and you only wanted a $10
Yeah.
1 pound. All right, here's $10 out. I don't want to sit there and, make change and all that stuff. So, and I got honey to, I don't know. It's like I talked to a friend, one of the club members tonight, and she sells it for $12 a pound. But if you buy 3 pounds, then it's $10 a pound. She'll give you the $2 discount.
So my thing is, with that scenario, then I mean, I understand giving a discount. I don't give discounts. I'll just be honest with you. I don't care if you buy 50 jars. This is the price. Well, why is the price? Because the damn machine that I use cost me $3,000 to get that honey out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had a call. I said, "Will you fill quart jar?" I says, "Yeah." I says, "As long as you bring the quart jar to me."
right.
And they said, "Well, how much?" I said, "Well, it's $10 a pound." I said, "It's 2 3/4 pounds. It's $27.50 for a quart."
My people will even bring back mason jars. Like when they're
Yeah.
done, hey man, I've got these mason jars. Can you use them again? Yes, sir. I'll sterilize them and clean them and put them back to use.
I just had a lady that, I told you about you, Bob, where she buys a lot of honey, and she comes in with these half-gallon mason jars. I think they are. They hold 5 and so many, 5 1/4 pound, 5.5 pounds, something like that.
Right.
And so anyway,
Well, when you go to the grocery store,
she
tomatoes
came in. She's already bought 4. Let's see, 50. That's 50 pounds or 5/10. Yeah, she's bought 10. Well, she's bought 4 of those jars already. She came and got her second set. Now she brought me 2 more sets, to fill. So that's $115 a pop.
Well, the
She'll
thing is,
spend somewhere around $400 in honey with me.
well, when you go to the grocery store and you buy tomatoes, they're $1.99 a pound. Let's say $2 a pound. If you buy 10 pounds, they're not giving you a discount because you bought more tomatoes, right? I mean, you're only going to make that honey one time a year, and that honey's got to last the whole year. So my thought is, and it's been the case since I've started beekeeping, is I never have enough honey for it to make it the whole year. So
yeah, the last 2 years, I used to buy 500 pounds of honey from people that I know that have quality honey. And Pennsylvania beekeeper, I'm averaging the last 2 years right around 1,000 pounds a year.
So my thing
2 years ago was 1,100 pounds. This past year was 850 pounds. I'm hoping maybe this year, if everything goes well with no swarming, if I can get out there every weekend here, it's been crap weather and all.
Well, the thing is that if I don't discount it, if that offends them, sorry. However,
you're out there, you're going to spend $10,000 in boxes and equipment, and it costs you $1 or something with labels, jars, lids, labels, and all that. And do I discount it? No, I don't. I don't wholesale it either, as far as in buckets or whatever. And it's going out the door. I sold.
I've got enough honey. I've got like very little bottled honey left. However, I've got 10 frames in my refrigerator that I could pull out right now and extract and have enough to make it till my honey. And I could probably go out there and pull frames right now.
Well, it depends how wet it is.
Yeah, so that's the thing is that I'm trying to click that link above. It'll be an interesting read for the chat. Did I miss a link? I did miss a link. The bee culture. Let me go to the chat over here. There it is. And so my thing is, I find that people that come and buy honey appreciate. I don't even set my truck out there anymore because otherwise I would have sold out already, right? Which isn't necessarily a problem, but it's like my customers that come regularly, I'm trying to make sure that they have it. If it's just a guy, I had a lady that came and bought honey last year. She bought a bunch of honey, but she hadn't been back because she bought so much honey, So it's like I want to keep the supply for the demand, I guess. Let me see.
Well, I've sold quite a bit of honey today. I don't know what is it. So 3, 6, 7, 8. There was at least 8 pounds just today. $80 worth.
I sold
actually $80 worth plus 115.
I sold 3 pounds today. And not even trying. I was just working bees and somebody pulled in the yard. All right, so Bee Culture Magazine is the region's honey price report. Let's see. All right, so I'm in region 2, evidently.
I'm in region 1.
And Matt is in region 4, right? Or are you in region 5?
4.
Okay, 4. Yeah, you're right up north of Iowa there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Where the birds fly upside down.
What is it? What's that? What's that?
The birds fly upside down over Iowa.
Oh.
Retail
shelf price.
What I said was region 2. Okay. So if you're selling it by the drum, it looks like about $2.20 where I'm at. And you're getting $2.50 up there. Let's see. Half pound per case of 24. Let's do it by the 1 pound. So they're saying $13.90. No, that can't be right.
They're saying $8.35 for me for 1 pound.
But is that just that's wholesale prices sold to stores in case lots? Where's the retail? Oh, retail, right. Let's go down. So, yeah, $10 a pound. 2 pound.
Yeah, I'm $8.35. Well, I'm ripping people up, so I'm selling it for 10.
Well, hey, that's the average, right? That's what it says. So you're on the high average. That's fine. Cut comb, 1 pound of creamed honey. It's saying in my area is $12 a pound.
Oh, the lowest is Dakota's in 8.18.
Cream honey ought to be worth around $20 in it.
Look at Ross Round. A Ross Round, $13.46 here. I haven't even put that Ross Round frame out there.
Wow, Ross Rounds around me are $11.50. You're high at $18.50. That's crazy.
Pollination fee per colony, $76 here. Charlie's at 93. Looks like, where are you at? Like 129.
129. Huh.
So that link is in the chat, guys, if you want to read this.
Yeah, but I looked at that. I get this magazine. I got all the magazines, and I don't know. I don't know where they get their information, but
yeah, that's what I'm wondering is where they're getting all this information from. I know one thing. If you go to like Target around here, you have it's a local bee company, and I can't remember their name. And it's a bigger company, but they sell in Target your 1 pound bottle for $5. It's like 5 something. So $6 for a pound.
Yeah. They're selling it. That's wholesale price though, right? Or is that what it's retailing in the store?
That's what it is in the store.
For a 1 pound?
Yep. And it's like, how do you compete with that? And it's labeled all over on it that it's Minnesota fresh wildflower honey, you know?
Well, I have that too. People come here and they say, well, I bought this at Be Well or wherever. But yeah, okay, it's South Carolina honey, but it's not local honey. I mean, you don't get much local than you can drive in my yard and pick it up. I mean, other than me pulling a frame out and letting them scoop it into a jar for you or a Tupperware dish. I mean, how much more fresh local honey can you get than being able to go right up there? You know, it doesn't say on the pollination feed how long it is.
I want to know, Pennsylvania beekeeper, where are you located at? What are you in the eastern
Probably
part
Pennsylvania.
Huh?
Probably Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know, but he could be, is he in Lancaster County or is he in out in the west someplace?
So that 1 pound case of 24, what region are you at? 4?
Yeah.
It says 24 for 139.12 is the wholesale price. 139.12 divided by 24 is $5.79 is the average cost to the store is what it should be.
Wholesale College. Okay. You're about 3 hours north of me.
$5 a pound has to be China honey, he said. But yeah, so it's, I mean, I don't know. My prices, there's people that are selling honey more for less in my area. I've seen it on Facebook, and they're like, local honey, $12, and it's an 8-ounce jar. And I'm like, that's half a pound for $12. So you're getting $25 a pound for your honey, or you're not selling that much honey, or you just don't have that much honey. One of the two, right? So I'm in the I don't have that much honey thing right now. So, and even if I did, I'm not worried about selling it like that because I can put it in my warmer, decrystallize it, and sell it when I don't, when I do need to sell it, like maybe next year if I don't make as much honey, or this year. Well, but I don't have any left over this year. So,
so we didn't make a ton of honey last year. Well, the last 2 years it's been pretty bad because we've been in a drought. But this last year, all the honey, after I bottled it, it was a week later, it was all crystallized. I've never seen that before.
What type of honey are you getting up that way?
It tastes like clover.
So, you sure it's not canola? Do you have canola near you?
Because we don't have canola up here. But we literally didn't get any rain all summer long.
Well, it all depends on I understand it's how high the sugar content is depending how fast it crystallizes.
Right.
I don't know. That's one thing I fight myself. I mean, I got, I'll put it in 5-gallon buckets, and then I cycle those buckets through my hot box.
This is not crystallized, and it's got peppers in it. It's hot honey.
See, Russell said his did the same thing, but not as fast. And that could be off. It could have been 2 weeks, but it was right away. I know that it was less than a month.
This is the last honey I pulled, and it's not crystallized either.
Well, we just ate our last jar, or our very first jar, and from beekeeping, and that was 2020, and that was not even crystallized yet. So it was weird. I don't know if it was some kind of a different flower this year, or if it's just because it's so dry.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I say, my stuff will crystallize. I mean, I run it through my hot box, which is a refrigerator. And then luckily this year, last year, I got that grant and I got that bottling tank, which is
Matt, take the case out in your pickup truck when it's hot out. Just leave it in the back. It'll couple days, it'll be back to normal.
Yeah. I mean, it's still good. The wife likes bacon with it that way, but I hate it for everything else.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you make creamed honey.
Yeah, that's what, I really want to make a bunch of that, Charlie, this year if we get any, because it's so universal for everything, really.
Brad's in the house.
Oh, I like the logo there, Brad. Looks good. Looks good. Hey, Brad, I'm sorry I missed. A lot of times when I'm live, I don't check my messages. I apologize that I didn't get back to you the other night because we did hang out in the VIP room afterwards with Andrew till like midnight here. Well, it was midnight for him, right? And he's like, "Oh crap, I gotta get up to work." He said he was tired the next day, but he was glad he came on. He said he should have done it a long time ago. So it's oh, I did get the check this out. This is new. So obviously we're not out of queen marking pins anymore. Got the queen marking pins in. But they did something different this time that they didn't do last time is they actually sent me little Ziploc bags to put the marking pins in. So that's probably why it went up a damn $100 when I bought it for the Ziplocs. But they did. We got plenty of queen bee marking pin sets. But yeah, I was on my last one, and let me see. They're talking about the crystallization in the chat there.
Yeah, Matt said his was crystallizing too.
And
that's 2022.
James will be down here at my place on the 12th of May. So if you're in the area and want to meet said James, let me know. We'll try to fix it up. I don't know what his schedule is going to be, but we'll try to plan that out a little bit. Maybe that's something where we just go to like a lunch or something or dinner. If anybody wants to come down and meet James, he's going to be in town before he goes back to Canada.
Russell, our linden trees around us didn't even bloom last year.
The basswood didn't?
Yeah.
Or the linden? Linden and basswood are the same thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. None of them bloomed last year, and I figured it was because of the drought. But then someone also told me that they go through like a 5-year cycle or something where they won't bloom one year. But I just figured it was because of the drought. I don't know. I know nothing about the trees.
We could do that too. We could barbecue something. It's on a Friday. He'll be here on a Friday. And then I think he's flying back on Saturday. Then he's got to drive Saturday to Sunday or however long he's got to drive from the airport back to his place.
That'd be a long drive for me.
You know, they don't have Spirit Air up where you're at, the cheap airline.
No, never heard of it. Sun Country.
He needs to have bush planes like they have up in Alaska.
I swear to you guys, if I didn't have to deal with my mother, I would be visiting so many beekeepers. It wouldn't even be. I would just like probably buy me a used motorhome and just like drive, kind of like Austin or did with his, what do you call it, Homesteading of America or something, where he went
Justin?
to all this. Huh?
Justin. Yeah, he went to he wanted to find a homesteading, whatever best place to homestead or something.
Justin, whatever it is, Justin Rhodes.
Justin Rhodes. Yeah, he went all over America. We call it.
You know that goof. That guy. He stopped in Baltimore to the guy that had bees in the middle of Baltimore City, and that's Castro. I know that or know of him. You know, I met him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not that far from me. He's a little wacko, but other than
that. No Life Beekeepers Picnic at Bob's on May 12th. Hey, we can make it happen.
Beekeeping and Gardening said that's right. Every 5 years they don't bloom.
So you might have a good one this year.
Yeah.
So
that's
like
Sebastian.
It's funny because some of the trees that I have, they look dead, right? I mean, you look at them, and it's like, man, this thing's dead. And then all of a sudden next year, it'll be like, pow, like it just came back to life or something.
Yeah. Well, last year we didn't. So we had probably like a quarter of the dandelions that we used to. It was that dry. They were all shriveling up and dying or even.
You know what we should do? We should get a group cruise where we all go on like a beekeeper's cruise, and everybody goes like in the off season, as soon as like the honey season's over, instead of the winter, right? Going into winter, once we get all that stuff straightened out, then we go ahead and just get on that Carnival cruise and go to Mexico or something, or to the Bahamas, right? Somewhere we don't necessarily need a passport for. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Brad.
Your stuff make it there yet?
How you doing?
I haven't even checked.
Yeah, I think it's just crossing the border.
It's probably they're riding in the back of that little truck. That's what they're doing. That's why it's taking so long.
You betcha.
But but yeah, I'm seeing the snow behind you, and I'm like, man, I know that's last week, right? It's green now, right? Or
No, it's snowed today here.
Yeah, it's well, it's not nice out there. We're under Colorado low again, and it's above freezing, but it's cold, windy. It's miserable out there, and we've got another day of this. It's a 3-day. They're usually about a 3-day system, so you must be right, kind of under that too. What part of Minnesota are you in? Is it mad?
Yeah, central Minnesota. We got a bunch of rain and it snowed for a while today, and then tonight's supposed to get down to 28. So
yeah, try me. I know Minnesota a little bit. Where are you?
It'd be 45 minutes west of the cities. You know, where like Shakopee,
Okay.
Chaska,
Yep.
area,
Yep.
out
Yep.
in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
the
We like it. 45 minutes to any big store, basically, but
Yeah, it's nice country out there.
yeah.
the BB tree. Was that a BB tree? I don't know what that
I should
tree
try it.
says. It's Japanese. What the hell is it? Someone said it today.
Not wheat.
Privet. Japanese privet.
I don't know.
And that tree, it's funny because as the bees work it, little white flowers fall off of it. And it looks like it's snowed. Well, for us, not snow like you guys got, but there's just a bunch of white flowers where they're just falling as the bees are working it. So it looks like it's snowing under the tree a little bit. So it's pretty cool. Brad, you have a swarm right behind your head. The little shadow. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, the swarm right here. Yeah, that one I just took the other day, so it was calm enough I could fly, so took that picture.
Now, does it excuse me, does that get really muddy right there after the snow melts and everything?
Well, yeah, it does. It's sloped. The apiary is actually sloped a bit, so it doesn't retain water. But kind of up here on the top, it's kind of flat, so it's a little muddy right here. And where I'm driving all the time with the tractor, that's
Compacted down pretty good.
it ruins the grass and stuff, so you get no help from that root layer under the surface really holds things together. So I don't know if I can get out of the way of the picture, but
It's a lot of colonies.
I gotta let the dog out.
well, there's about 100 in there right now.
James
scared
tried
him
to
out of
call me and I missed his call. I was hoping he would pop in, but he's probably too
Oh.
busy still yet. Trying to get things together.
He's pretty busy.
And then he's got to go on a work trip. Oh, and it's on factory shutdown. So he says he actually works harder during the shutdown. in the States, when they say factory shutdown, they basically close the whole plant.
Well, it depends on who you are, right? They shut down to do all their maintenance and whatnot.
Yeah.
So he's on the maintenance crew.
So he's working extra hard now.
So you talking bees tonight, or what are you talking?
Yeah, we've been talking bees and talking. Matt came on. He said he lost. Go ahead. You said you lost 2 more colonies.
Yeah, I think so.
Coming right into this. Well, I guess I don't know when your spring starts up there, Matt. You're probably closer to what Brad goes through than what I go through.
Yeah, I'm generally like, well, the last 2 years I'm about a week behind you and Ian, Brad.
Yeah, okay.
Or like right there within a week.
And
well, even between me and Ian, there's a bit of a difference. Some of the time in the spring, there seems to be. But then again, it varies. But there can be I'm 150 miles from Ian. I'm northeast of him, so not like we're next door neighbors.
We spoke him into existence.
There's Mr. McNally. So, Matt, losing 2 more colonies.
How
give
you
me
doing,
some
guys?
context as to the size of your apiary.
I had 8 going into winter, but one of them was she was a 5-year-old queen, so I knew she wasn't going to come through. But
okay,
so
we can hear you, James.
Queen.
What's that?
5-year-old queen.
There he is.
Crazy.
Yeah, she was old. I got her. She was already 2 years old when I got her. So
Did you get lots of queens offered to graft off of that or anything?
I did a couple, but yeah, they died. So I just did splits.
So
He's driving.
Your biggest thing was
I'm just leaving the apiary again. What can I say?
Well, it's what time is it there? 8 o'clock, 8:11, something like that.
Yeah, 8:10.
So give us an update. I know you were 11 hours going south to get queens.
Yeah, unfortunately, Queen Supplier up here really dropped the ball. So
He just dropped the phone.
And it sounds like he dropped the phone.
I saw something Ian shared on Facebook today, which is a Canadian. Well, I can't say they're Canadian. I can say they were shipping queens to Canada.
She's Canadian, and that's why she's made her business shipping to Canadians, because she's trying to work on the situation we have in Canada where we don't have early queens, and that's why she's a Canadian and she's been producing queens in that location for quite some time. She's got a problem. There was something happened in her area that had nothing to do with her. I believe. I shouldn't say. I don't know the details.
Well, I saw her Facebook post, and basically, to paraphrase it, it was something to the effect of she wasn't going to be able to ship to Canada or something like that now.
Correct. That's correct.
And so she was looking for people to, I guess, partner with and sell queens too, as far as carrying their queens. But then I looked at the price, and that could just be, I mean, some of the prices on her queens compared to what I can get queens for, and they may be far superior. I don't know. This first time I've heard of her, but to get the price that I was buying when I bought more than 25 queens last year, I would have to buy 500 queens from her to get that same price. And that is, for a small person like me, that's not economical, right? That doesn't.
Well, that's
work.
her model, right? She doesn't just sell onesies, twosies. She ships the whole thing. That's the model. She ships the whole thing to Canada and sells it
She's in the States or she in Canada?
Yeah, no, she's in California.
Oh, California.
And there was a a technicality with CFIA, and she's been banned from shipping into Canada for the duration.
Well, she's got pricing on 1 to 10 queens is $40 plus shipping. 11 to 50 is $36 a piece. 51 through 100 is $32. 100 to 500 is $30.50. And then 500 plus is $29.50 plus shipping. And last year I was buying from the more local guy here was 25 queens were $28. I think they went up to 29 this year. But yeah, I mean, if you need queens and she's got them, that's the place to go because nobody here has them. Nobody here has
Well,
them.
I believe this thing about her operation is because she essentially is, working for Canadian beekeepers. Is her kind of northern hardy genetics is what she's using.
Yeah, they're carnies too, what she says. So
yeah, that's all we got. I can't compare it to others, but boy, seeing some YouTube videos, I don't know why you'd run anything but carnies. There's just like working with kittens all the time.
I don't know that the kittens like my heat down here that much.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work out, but
pissed kitties sometimes. No, I don't. I mean, I'm just trying to get all mine the same. So if it was all carnies, then all carnies or all Italians, just the same.
But I mean, you see me in my videos out there. I haven't worn a jacket in 2 years. I haven't worn gloves in 3 years. I'm out there in t-shirt and shorts and a veil.
Yeah, getting his ass
doing
stung.
whatever I need to do.
Get his ass stung up.
Well, I do get stung.
I've seen that last video. Ouch, ouch, ouch.
That last one I got lit up in that one hive. Holy cow. They took exception to me in a big hurry.
I've only got a few colonies like that right now, and they're all cutout or swarm colonies. They're the hot ones. All my other ones, if I pinch a queen, or pinch a bee, I'll get stung. But for the most part, they might bump. If I'm walking by, one might bump in my head. I find they're not very when they get that target right where they're going from a feeder or something, and they've got that straight line, that bee line plotted out. It doesn't matter what's in front of them; they're going to fly right into it. Bam. And they don't vary too much from that.
Thanks for watching, by the way, Charlie. Thanks for watching me get stung.
I enjoy it,
I had to throw in me
getting
stung because, everybody thinks I don't get stung. Well, that's not true.
It's always good when somebody else is the one getting stung.
That's right.
That's why I got half the viewers I got. They like to see me get stung when I go out there. It's not a live. Those were kittens from another mother bred. That's what Keith said.
So what's happening, James? And what's your bees doing now?
Well, I'm on about my third brood cycle. They're just going great guns up here on my my drone hive, and the rest of them I've got bees hatching out like mad. So it's been an absolute superb start to a season.
You got your 100 queens and you did 100 splits.
So the queens that they shipped from Ontario, they arrived today, of course, all dead. So but yeah, I did drive down, so 11 hours to drive down to southern Alberta. I did pick up my queens, came back up here. I just went through them all, collected all the queen cages, and it looks like they all took, with the exception of 2. So I'll take that percentage any day. So yeah, and the queens that are there that I picked up, they're already laying. In fact, some of them have got a frame and a half of eggs. So I got nothing but an awesome start to a year. Like just incredible.
You're cool.
That's great, buddy.
You're cool.
So now you got you got a what 178 hives now?
76.
That's cool. That's awesome.
176.
Dang.
You're
No,
moving. You're
76.
moving quick.
You haven't made your own splits yet. Those are
No, so most of these nukes, according to my business model, so I'll sell these nukes, and then now the interesting part is when I split these, I always make strong splits. So when I split these, I took 3 frames of eggs, larvae, and brood, and put them into the nukes, into a 6-frame nuke. So now I've got those bees are hatching out, and most of the nukes from the queens that I put in last weekend have 1 to 1.5 frames of eggs laid up now. So those nukes, I would say I would be ready to release those nukes as early as the 1st of May. So those are turning out really, really well. And then the hives that I split those nukes off of, I jumped in a couple of those tonight. I've got 4 to 5 frames of brood again in those hives, and lots and lots and lots of new bees. So I wish I could tell you what the recipe is that has set me on such a good start, but I really don't think I've done much anything different than anybody else, and I'm really blessed for this year. My good fortune right now is I just hope it keeps going.
Well, I want to ask you how you get that weather. Brad and I could use it.
It's gonna be plus 22 here this weekend. You know, it's absolutely crazy. Like you know, the pussy willows
Yeah,
are
but
out.
it's Grand Prairie. It could change any minute.
It could. Absolutely, it could. So, I mean, I got the pussy willows out. I've got natural pollen coming in. They've pretty much abandoned my my dry feeder. They're not really taking the pollen patties anymore. Yeah, like I really
It's go time for you then.
I got nothing bad to say. Like I said, I really and truly am blessed.
I mean,
I'm sitting here waiting for a train now, but no, like I'm actually, all of my nuke boxes that I made are full. Like this winter, all of my 6-frame nuke boxes are full. I'm about to start grafting. I've got no shortage of drone brood in all of my hives. I have drones hatching out. I'm about to start grafting, and as soon as I get rid of these nukes here the first week of May, of course, I'm down south for the week of May 7th, but when I get back, I will be full bore into grafting and splitting again. So as much as I work diligently all winter, I really think I'm going to be out of equipment again here before the solstice, which is going to set me up really well for the honey season.
That's crazy.
we're going to see what hijinks we can get down here on the 12th.
So your honey season doesn't start until June 21st?
Oh, no. So it'll start a little bit before, but
Like the 1st of June?
Everything's pretty much going to be in full bloom right around there, right around the middle of June.
Mine is starting to take shape.
Got her. Like
right.
our dandelions here are starting to pop up all over. So I mean that little bit of nectar source is going to start here right away too. So yeah, it's just
so you're like
we are
Brian,
good
like
month
in
for
Ohio
dandelions.
So yeah, like I said, I wish I could be a typical beekeeper, but and have something to complain about, but I don't dare complain about much of anything.
Well, that's
all right. You, Brad and James. All right. If you watch some of the videos, I'm getting, here I'm adding supers and all that. Now I didn't pull any splits off of my honey eyes, but I'm getting queen cells. So what am I doing here? equalize or I mean, when I equalize the past 2 years, I don't have any swarm cells. And I know that Ian and them and you guys pull a split off first, I think it is, and or do you do the honey season and then the split?
Well, you see, this is what I mean. I'm always watching you guys. I'm always studying what you do, and I'm starting to learn that um, the splitting and things that you're doing, you're always you're always mitigating swarming, right? Your whole method is to mitigate swarming,
Yeah.
um, and and so your greatest effort is to minimize swarming. Well, our greatest effort is to make up what we lost over the winter. Uh, it's very very difficult for us to be able to split enough and make enough new colonies in the spring that will actually mature enough to winter well um, each year. So mitigating swarm mitigations are no snow here, couple flakes and cold wind, but that's it. You get any? Um, so
Well, that's
so
what
that's
I've
what we're
kind of
doing,
noticed.
and what we're trying to not do is to split so much that we knock down our honey crop
Right.
in late June
Yeah.
and
Well,
in
that was the
July.
one thing that I kind of figured out by listening to you guys that our honey season is right in line with our swarm season at the same time, where your honey season starting, James is saying there right around the 1st of June, something like that, is your honey season starting. And but it's also June 21st where the you know the queen's going to start slowing down, I think, at that point in time, because your daylight hours are lessened or not, like
Well,
around.
okay, couple things. So context in my area, I'll get some dandelions, uh, late May, early June, and then there's dearth again for another couple of weeks, maybe
Mm,
3. And so it could be the 21st, 25th of June, and then the honey flow starts, and then it comes in like a freight train for about a month, and then it tapers off again. In my particular area, I can have honey flow, a little trickle of a honey flow until middle of middle of September, but that's not normal. That's not what you
right.
can depend on.
All right. So
Um,
it boils down to location and where you're at in this world. And I kind of have, it's like Ian told me one time we were on that live chat that I told him, about, I was asking him about management of the hives. And I told him what I did with equalization and stuff. And he said, if it works for you, then do that. And
mhm, mhm,
I think he's right. Where last year, the last 2 years, I did equalization, pulling the brood out, and stuff like that to cut down on these swarm cells. And I've been using some of the swarm cells to queen some of all the nukes that I've been selling. And so I think that's what's going to work for me. I can see that. And I like this idea where the demery, where I can put that brood upstairs on top of that one
mhm.
hive. Then if I find a weak hive, I can go over here. I don't have to dig through the hive. All I have to do is go on the top of the hive and pull it out. And it's been I know the queen's downstairs and I got bees on that brood, and just move it over there and drop it into some weak hives for now type. So
So a couple of things, Charlie. So our swarm season, and again, it changes, but it's generally late May, early June. It starts, and then we can have swarming right through July. Uh, so it starts well before the honey flow
mhm,
here, the main honey flow. And the other thing is when you talk about the queen slowing down on the 21st of June,
June.
you can't you can't really think of it that way uh, in general, because yes, it's true that the queen's peak laying rate is the 21st of June. However, don't forget, it's not like she drops right off after that. She still keeps laying like crazy.
Yeah.
And not only that, but that peak laying rate, the number of eggs that she has laid at her peak laying rate won't emerge for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the 15th of July before your emergence rate also starts. I wouldn't even say tapers off, but it peaks about the
Mm-hmm.
15th of July or so, and then kind of goes off into there. And the situation that we find ourselves in here is we have that really awesome honey flow throughout that period, and then we get into the middle of August, and we've got hives with 80,000 or 100,000 bees in these colonies, and no honey flow, and these bees have nothing to do, and they have no purpose because they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to do anything for us at all. All they're going to do is eat. And so there's lots of methods that are being talked about on how to take those unemployed bees, we call them, because they have no purpose whatsoever. They're going to do absolutely nothing for you, because they're just going to all die by the time fall arrives. They're just going to be dead. So the idea is to maybe use those for some reason, get a mated queen, make a broodless
Split.
split perhaps, or whatever, right? So I'd like to try a lot of that, but I haven't done a lot of that yet.
Right.
Well, what I think a lot of people down here that I just from comments and stuff that I've been seeing about, and this is all stuff, thank you, James, that I've learned through you, beating it in my head with queens and grafting is, yes, it takes a month for that queen to go out, get mated, and start laying. But there's still another 3 weeks after that before her broods start to hatch. So you have
right.
to make those splits strong because you're going to have bees dying that whole month and almost 2 months, right? That bees are going to be dying in the process. So if you make the split weak, by the time she is laying, well, then she's got this tiny cluster of bees and she's fighting that uphill battle the whole time because she can never lay more than what she's got bees to take care of that brood. And so
That's right.
it is actually, and that's my failure. I'll call it. That was my failure every year that I've been beekeeping, is making a split, adding a queen, not enough bees. She can't get in a rhythm, so to speak, because she's only going to lay this much. Well, now we're waiting 3 weeks for that to hatch out. And then guess what? Those bees that were covering that much before are now dying. So now she's just in that constant struggle of trying to grow that colony.
Well, that's the one thing I notice in with James and Brad and at your level is that you really tune in on the number of days for this. Let's say 21 days and how many weeks it takes for this, and you're looking so many weeks ahead of time, calculating out what you're going to be doing and stuff.
The life
And-
cycle of a bee. It's the
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
the life cycle
it's
of a
very
beekeeper, too.
you really look at it very precisely on you predict on exactly what you're going to be doing in these hives by that time chart.
Yeah, a lot of times there's not time to change your mind and to change gears. You've got to have a plan and go with that, because you've got literally weeks. You've got kind of one chance at a lot of this stuff every
Well,
year, and
Yeah, I know. Bob
screw
is
that.
holding up the paper as far as queen rearing. I understand that.
The
part of
reason
it,
I'm
but-
holding this up today is because I made what I felt was pretty decent splits when I split those colonies. But the last graft date that I did was only 1 month ago today. So that means that these two that were done the weeks before are just now starting to have their brood emerge. Just now. and it seems like it's been forever since I grafted. I mean,
you know, I saw a presentation not long ago. If I can find it, I'll refer it to you. But Randy Oliver presentation, and he had data and graphs and every. You know how Randy is. He's very specific about what he presents to you, and he compared different ways of making splits. You know, more bees or more brood or a baited queen or a queen cell or a virgin queen, or you know, all the different ways to make splits, and he showed you all the different effects that had over time. And what you were just saying, I think you'd find that really interesting to see what his kind of conclusions were from his scientific data from the tests that he's done. And one of the most striking um, differences was brood. It doesn't matter so much how many bees you have. It doesn't matter so much whether it's a package. Not the package, because the package has no brood, but whether it's, you know, this queen or that queen or et cetera, et cetera. It's brood. You have one frame of brood, two frames of brood, three frames of brood. That's what's going to really pick that colony up in a big hurry. And it makes sense because brood is what? Brood is future bees, right?
Exactly.
So you have bees increasing the population over time when you put brood in that split. If I can find that video, Bob, I'll send it along to you. It was really interesting.
I appreciate that.
So, Ian, I do have natural pollen coming in now. So I've been working a shutdown, so I haven't been out there a whole bunch. I'm going to say this past week since Monday. So my natural pollen has started coming in now just since Monday. Our poplar trees up here are all starting to pop now. They're all starting basically spring is here. And what I've noticed is they've pretty much just about abandoned my dry pollen feed in the apiary. So there's a few bees there, but nothing like there normally was. And as far as what I've gone through for pollen patties, when I pulled these out of the barn, they went through 2 pounds of pollen patties in the first week. They absolutely devoured the first 2 pollen patties.
That's crazy.
And they've gone through almost 2 pounds of pollen patties since then till now. But I've noticed that they weren't at the pollen patties tonight, as I was in there making sure that all the queens were released as well. So I guess a total of each hive has gone through about 4 pounds of pollen patties. Now, each one of the nukes that I split off here last week, I dropped another half pound of pollen patty in each one of those because the nukes were still going at those ones pretty strong. So each one of my nukes now will have a pound of pollen patty in it too. And with the pollen that they're starting to come in or bring in naturally, I'm pretty sure they won't need any more of that either. So it's been a lot of feed for them this year. Now, they haven't needed very much sugar water. They all came out of the barn with lots of feed. Even my singles came out of the barn with at least I'm going to say 2 full frames of feed. So I've just been trickling the sugar water to them, just to kind of enough to keep them stimulated. Now, interesting thing too, and I apologize to everybody because I'm in the middle of a shutdown, so I haven't had a chance to get very many videos out. But they devoured the pollen patty with the Apis biologic in it in about, I'm going to say, it took them about a third longer to take just the regular pollen patty, so just the regular global patty. There was about a third of that left by the time the Apis biologic patty was gone. So, and that seemed to be fairly consistent across the hives that I put it in. I did some too where I put just 2 pounds of Apis biologic in, and right beside it I put 2 pounds of the regular pollen patties in, and the Apis biologic was gone at the 2 pound rate before the other one was as well. So I've kind of come to the conclusion that there is definitely a difference between the two. just not. I haven't had a chance, and unfortunately, I'm not sure I will now that I have natural pollen come in. I haven't had the chance to really dig in to see how many frames of brood the Apis Biologics did versus the regular patties, and I think I still have another week and a half of shutdown, so I don't think I'm going to be able to collect that data this year, which is unfortunate, but it is definitely I definitely see a difference. I just can't tell you how big of a difference.
Well, I gotta get going here, so nice meeting you, Brad and James. I don't think I've ever been on a live with you guys, but I've watched you guys' videos, so
excellent.
Nice to see you,
Thank
man.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks for watching.
Good luck with everything, and hopefully no one gets snow. They're talking a couple inches tomorrow for us now, so
Apparently Ian's buried.
I don't want that.
I'm hoping I'm past that. So it's well, the sun's
nothing
still
here.
up. It's plus 8 degrees, and this is probably the coolest day I've had in a week. So
You're lucky.
You missed it. Andrew was on the other night, James.
All right, see you guys.
I did catch him. I was listening to him as I was dipping boxes. I've been getting up, heading to work. I've been at work by about 5:30 in the morning, working a 12 to 14-hour day, and then hitting the boxes and the apiary and splits. And it's been some long days for me, but it's really paying off. Now, am I getting tired? I'm absolutely getting tired. So I'm looking forward to the week there in South Carolina.
And most especially to the one day at Bob's. So that's going to be fun. I just told anybody that, hey, if they want to come down on the 12th, we'll just cook out some burgers or something and do something. Perfect.
I'm definitely driving up, so I'm actually going to be south of where Bob is, but yeah, the 12th I am going to drive up to.
You're going to be north of where I'm at.
That's right. Well, that's what I mean. I'm south of where you're at for my training, but.
Oh, you're not. I thought you were going to Greenville.
That's correct. Yep.
That's north.
Okay.
That's north of me. Yeah.
Where are you at?
Columbia.
Okay. Yes. Sorry. I thought you were in, what is it, Spartanwood or whatever's up north?
Spartanburg? Nope. That's north of me.
Got her. Okay.
I'm about 20 miles from the Eastover plant of International Paper.
Got her.
So.
But yeah, like I said, I just I can't. I've gone back over my notes, trying to figure out what I did differently. Now, here's something that I have seen, and Alan's kind of verified this. So I did put some hives to bed with, as everybody knows, with a full deep and a medium super on top. The medium supers definitely, without a doubt, came out of the shed with, I'm going to say, twice as many bees as the single. So I definitely can winter them over with just the single, as Brad and Ian had said. So definitely, they had lots of food, came out no problem. But the ones that I had the medium on top definitely came out much, much stronger.
Interesting, James. I want to share you something that's similar, I think, is, those 3 doubles that I kind of messed up and ended up putting in the building this year. I can, from what I've seen, those 3 doubles are very strong. They're very, very good colonies right now. So I don't know.
Interesting.
It's not a feed thing. The rest of the colonies have plenty of feed.
I don't know what it is, and I was happy, actually. I was excited because it does take a lot more equipment to put them to bed that way. But being as part of my business plan is nukes, or the more nukes I can sell early on in the year. I'm really contemplating continuing to put him to bed with a medium on top. Like I've split one nuke off of those hives already, and a strong nuke. I should have taken some pictures actually. When I finally came out of the apiary, I noticed that you were there. The extra stored pollen. Actually, that could very well be it. Absolutely.
Now, did you feed them with apis in your sugar water in the fall?
I did.
I mean, that's what I mixed up 80 gallons of apis in my sugar water, and like my 10 framers got about 4 gallons of that because that was like the last 2 batches with apis added. And I this year I got more bees than I've ever got in my life.
So
I mean, they're bees from the.
I gave him 2 rounds with the apis added, and then the last one was just straight.
Mhm.
Well, what would be the chance that you guys say when you're getting ready to put them in, you just absolutely slam them full with sugar feed, right? So you're closing down her ability to lay in a single brood chamber because there's so much extra feed in there.
Nope.
Do you think that having the extended or the double amount of area, that as they consume in that cluster, it's giving her more room to lay when she starts to brood up a little bit, which helps with the expansion? And do you think that could be something to do with that?
James is locked up. He's gone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brad's
That's
eyelids,
that's
eyebrows
interesting.
up.
That's
So
an interesting idea. See, they are plugged out by the end of October, early November, when they go in the building. They start. They start cleaning some of that out as they go. They don't eat feed very quickly, like not quickly at all. It's astounding how little feed they eat during the winter. And it's that brood that makes them use feed. So the more brood they have, the more they're going to eat because they've got to feed the babies, right?
right.
So yeah, that's an interesting theory. Does it give the queen? But see, I don't know because she doesn't brood much all winter in our case. She's
Right.
really not brooding much. A lot of people say she doesn't brood at all in the winter, and I've witnessed no brood at all in late fall after I've fed them up. But I've plugged that nest right out, and I'm not certain. I get to talk to Lloyd Harris a lot, and he's very adamant that they brood all winter and whatnot, and so it would be really. I'm just thinking it would be really cool to have him, this conversation here tonight because he certainly would have some things to say.
I'm just thinking that with the here at 40 degrees, which is what you guys are keeping your building at.
That's right.
My bees will brood. They won't fly, but they will brood. And then it gets up to 52. Well, then they'll get out, 50, 52 degrees. Then they'll fly.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking that, if it's at 40, they're still possibly populating.
Sorry
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just snapped his finger and went from truck to...
Yeah, I think what happened when I backed into the driveway, the phone connected to the Wi-Fi and dropped the call. So
what can you do?
Nothing.
So Bob, I put in the window there. I put in the link to that video that I was telling you about, and I started it around where he starts talking about
Right. I'll copy
how
that.
many frames of brood and whatnot to put in the. It was just some interesting that he'd actually done all of that kind of. And I don't know that it was his work. I think it was his work, but I'm not sure. But he has that data.
All right, I got it saved there.
But the take home really is the greatest benefit is brood. To make a colony, to make a nuke go, the greatest benefit is brood over anything else, even bees.
The that yeah, I'll watch that. That's a long video, hour and a half long. It's almost like my live stream.
Yeah, it is. It's a good one though. Take some time, watch it.
I will watch that one for sure. There's so many different videos out there, and we talked about it earlier that you can get. And I made the statement. Matt made it again tonight. Is that there's so much that you get that paralysis, you know. And I've made the statement to James earlier in the year because we were talking every day. James, what do I do? What do I need to do? I'm like, I know to do this. Why am I asking you to tell me again? You know, it's
Well,
just,
and the hard part for me is I'm guessing. I'm going back to the fundamentals when you were asking me. It's like I don't know what works for you down there. You know, here's what
Yeah.
works for me up here, but you always go back to those fundamentals and it works. Just stick to those golden rules.
and that's what it was. It's just a validation or a confirmation, whatever you want to call it, on I should be doing this. Well, then do it. You know, quit thinking about it and just go do it. You know.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it's amazing, and I was questioning as to doing these splits earlier. I've never ever done splits like this in the year. But I went back to the fundamentals because I'm thinking, well, geez, do I do this or don't? And what am I going to do? And then I did the same thing. I went, okay, well, what do I need? I need my equipment. I need bees. I need brood. I need queens. I need, and I went back to, okay, I want at least 3 frames of bees and brood in my splits. I gave them 3 frames of bees and brood. I gave them 1 frame of honey. I gave them 1 frame of drawn comb and 1 frame to work on. And those nukes are right now, the queens are laying, and they keep laying like the way they are. I'm going to say in 2 weeks time, if I wasn't going to get rid of them, I would move them to a 10 frame box, but I went back to the fundamentals. What do I need? If I was splitting this in May, what would I look for? In fact, I think I even mentioned to Brad, it's like, what do you think? But I took a chance and went back to the basics, and as long as you follow those rules,
and you just made me think of something. Charlie was asking, about what we're going to be doing, in May and whatnot, and this might be more a difference between a hobbyist and a sideliner. I'm more what you would call a sideliner, even though it's my full-time job. But the one concept that's very, Charlie, I'm looking at your picture behind you there, and you've got a lot of different things going on there, and whereas you look at this picture, and there's pretty much the same thing going on 100 times, right? And that's really key to kind of keeping a handle on what's going on. This yard drives me nuts in the summer because I end up with probably 50 colonies all at a different place. And I should never let that happen, but I do. I try to get too many things, different things going. And one of the principles about this that I'd like to share is that when you have a yard like this, you think, well, how am I going to make splits? How am I going to make nukes and all this kind of stuff? Well, you can look at a yard like that and the picture behind you, Charlie, you can look at that whole yard as what I call an aggregate resource. And aggregate means everything's together, everything's mixed in. So you're not looking at splitting a hive. You're not looking at splitting a colony. You're looking at taking resources from every one of the colonies in that yard. So say there's 100, there's 120 or whatever there is there,
Right.
You can take resources from every one of those. So what's really more important than what you're taking is what you're leaving behind.
Mhm.
So you want to, again, what we talked about earlier, you want to leave behind what you need to make a honey crop, right? You want to leave that original colony with enough strength to make a good honey crop. Take everything else. If they can spare one frame of brood, take it. If they can spare 3, take all of them. If they can spare some, you run across a couple of really nice pollen frames, those go in your cell builder, right?
Mhm.
So you have a whole yard that has one big aggregate resource. And then so you can take that giant pool of different things that you need to make your splits, and then you just start dropping them in boxes, right? And then you end up with, out of 100 colonies, you end up with 50 splits, or you end up with 150 splits, or whatever you
Right.
come up, whatever your goals are, however many queens you bought, or whatever that is.
Well,
So
it's
that's
like right
kind of
now,
a
I got 2 more boxes of bees going out the door again. I just got a call tonight for some more later nukes in the year. And I'm like, like you say, springtime's a crazy time where everything just seems to come at once at you. But my nuke splits, the way I did them this year, I've finally fine-tuned the like using queen excluders, isolating the queen, finding the queen. The
yeah,
first four nukes that I sold, I didn't mark the queen. Then I like looking for I want to see the eyeball that queen going into that cardboard transport box. And I said, okay, that's it. When I go back and make up more nukes to sell, every queen, I'm going to find her and I'm going to mark her, and then I have that peace of mind when I'm making, when a customer is coming in 15 minutes and I'm putting them in a transport box. I usually pull the first frame up. Well, there she is right there running around with a yellow dot on her, because that's what I happen to have in the truck, and put that in there. I know where she's at now. And then I just put all the rest of the frames in there and shake all the bees in. And then I have a box of, I have a nuke over, 5/5, and the bottom of 5 has brood and whatever, and a bunch of bees in there. So I got already something nice to start with. And then, so it's turned out to be a lot less stressful for me this year, having a good system when selling the nukes. And
yeah,
then,
that's key. Last year the weather was so cold we couldn't make our nukes in the way that I
well, I
prefer.
was
What
making
you're
nukes, and
suggesting, where you shake them down, put your
yeah,
brood above the queen excluder, and then come back and get it. It was too cold. We couldn't do that. We couldn't put that
yeah,
second box. So we found every queen in that yard. We sat and found every queen in that yard, and then pulled resources away from her into the nuke boxes.
right.
It was so time consuming. It took us so long to do that.
Well, with this or last year, I'm trying to go through, the wet. We had crap weather, and all of a sudden we had 1 week of beautiful weather. And I told my brother, I said, "Look, I got to take off from work, and I've got to get these hives out of here before they swarm." And these nukes, and you're going to try to go through 10 frames or more of trying to find these darn queens. And it's like I had a nuke out there yesterday. It's one of them carnies. She's black, and she blends in with the black comb. And I'm like, where in the hell is this damn bee at? And finally my
Yeah,
eye picks up on
Sorry,
her.
guys, I forgot the mic was in here.
mute your mic, man.
And I found her finally, and I marked her, and now she's going to go out the door. But what was nice about it, I use a queen excluder. I take my 5/5. I make sure I take the top box. I set that top box up, like you say, with 3 frames of brood and some food and some pollen. I find the queen. I mark her now, put her in that top box. I put a queen excluder in between the 2 5s. Now she's sequestered up in the top box. So when I need to, go out there and transfer everything, I don't have to worry about looking for anything. They're always in the top box. And people say, well, they have nukes to sell. And I says, yeah, you guys are down south and you can overwinter in a single box. I said, I can't do that here. I said, I have got to overwinter in a double box to put the food on there to get them through the winter. And I says, then I got a finder, you might say, split the box in half with a queen excluder. And then I said, I have a box of bees left over. So now I've been using queen cells. If there's a queen cell, all right, put that in there. I don't want to spend $200 or $300 on queens and stuff like that. I want to make, I'm trying to graft a little bit here. That has been, I set that there.
Charlie,
license.
one of the greatest benefits that when you're talking about, you're talking about, you shake all the bees down, you put your queen excluder and put brood, etc. above it, and then the bees come up through it, right? You know what? One of the greatest benefits of that is, I think,
it reduces the bee
once
load.
you have, but once you have that little nuke above that queen excluder, and you go and you take that little nuke off and you set it somewhere else, those are all nurse bees. They've not been outside. So guess what? They're not going to leave.
Yeah,
you don't have to take it the old 2-mile rule, right? You set that anywhere you want your apiary, they're going to stay in that box,
Or
right?
lock 'em
That's
in.
one of the greatest benefits of making splits that way.
I never thought about that, but and that way I can make my
I've
cell
done it
builder.
so
I can
much,
make
and it works great.
my cell builder up a lot better that way. Because what I did is I had that license hive behind me there, that purple one, that 6-framer. And I said, all right, I'm going to transfer this nuke that I had sold, what was left of it, into that. And I did. And I put an extra frame of brood in there, or a comb. And then there was another nuke down the road, down the, the stand. And I brought that and stuck it in tight. Well, when I did all that, that thing was packed full of bees. And I'm like, yes. And I put a feeder in there, frame feeder in there. I got a frame feeder from a friend of mine. I'm set up good for this cell builder. And I ran out there and I grafted. When the graft material wasn't all that great, but it was decent. And but then when I got in there and looked in there, it's like, well, where's all the bees at? They flown back, I guess, back to the home base.
Yeah.
So
And that's the thing, they don't fly right away. What I've done in my yard to make a builder is I'll just take a tote, just a plastic Rubbermaid tote, and I'll just go to some strong colonies, and I will have previously put a queen excluder, shaking everything down, put a queen excluder, and put a whole bunch of brood and whatnot in the second box, and I'll just go to those hives and I'll just unload the second box and shake them all into this tote. So immediately anybody who's going to fly is going to fly away, and then I'll just fill this tote jammed full of bees, carry it over to my cell starter, and just literally dump it into the cell starter.
I think that's where I've noticed, like with you, with that last video that you put out there, you use them Pro Nukes. They're a pretty good little tool, to put stuff in, or like you say, shake them bees off in there, and they're just the right size that you can pour and all that stuff.
Yeah. I want to share another little tip with people, and we use it, and I think it's a good tip for anybody of any size operation, and that's called I didn't invent this. It's called a quiet box, and people know what a quiet box is. You get yourself a Pro Nuke. It's got a snap lid on it. It's not going to come off if you need to close it. You set the Pro Nuke next to you. You open your colony. You look for your queen. You find the queen on a frame. You don't muck with her. You don't pick her up. You don't put her in a cage or nothing. You set her quietly into this Pro Nuke. It's right beside you. You can put the lid on if you want. Snap the lid on if you like. Now you know where your queen is. She's perfectly safe. There's no chance that, as long as you don't kick the thing over or step on it or something like that.
Right.
So that's one of the ways we use Pro Nukes in our bee yard. Is we use that as a quiet box, and it works perfectly for that. It's got a bottom in it. Queen's not going to fall out. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. I see there's Lewis Goat House, BC. I guess that's British Columbia. That's next to you, isn't it, James?
It is. Yep. Actually, I shared the link with our 4-H group up here, so I don't know if any of them are popping on, but if they are, um, so that's starting to take off really good as well. And so they're
Mhm.
if any of them are in, I mean, feel free to say hi in the chat there for any of those guys.
Those pro nukes, I do the same thing with shaking the nurse bees. You just pop the lid off, start shaking frames of brood. The older bees will fly out, and you'll end up with a cover crop of bees down there. The baby
Yeah.
bees, right?
Yeah, Brian from Flower State. Yeah, Billy Davis was the first guy that I watched, and actually I met Billy several different times. Went down to his bee sanctuary thing and helped him out some before he passed away. But I actually made my own, like you say, quiet box with a. It's just like Billy had. He had a hard lid and he had a soft piece of like
Yeah,
canvas.
canvas or something.
Canvas, yeah.
Yep.
And I made it up like that. And it had, and then I took some 9-frame uh, separators or whatever you call them, that you put along the edge, in your honey boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I put that in there so I could put a frame in there and it wouldn't slide sideways. It would hold it and not fall out and stuff.
See, I thought
But,
Brad was going to say the quiet boxes every time my wife says, "Go to the apiary." I want some quiet time. Go to the apiary.
Has she tried her new suit out yet?
Not yet. Nope, not yet.
but yeah, that's but anyway, like I say, nuke sale or the nuke situation this year, maybe because of the weather, but also by the techniques that I developed, has really made it a lot easier for me. I'm a little more less stressed out, and then and stuff like that. And I know nukes are coming tomorrow from down in South Carolina, Bob.
From Cutic?
Yeah, from Cutic.
They've been about useless to me this year.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
I
he's
mean, I've
probably,
called him a few times,
How do
right?
you really feel, Bob?
Well, to be honest with you, we had this discussion, Charlie. Last year, I wasn't impressed with the queens that we got from him, right?
yeah.
So I kind of didn't get any queens from him and I was trying to graft, so that worked out well. But now I get a lot of people that are looking for queens, and I'm a resourceful guy, right? So I don't mind reselling a few queens if I can get them like that. But they're like, well, we're sold out of queens for the next 2 months. Well, you'll be moving your operation back up to New York by then, so you don't have any use. I don't have any use for you anymore this year.
I with my queens that were shipped to me clear across Canada here in the truck, as devastating as that was, I honestly think it was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. And I'm gonna tell everybody why, is because when you have all of these splits and you're expecting these queens, you hit the panic button and you start making some phone calls. And I made a contact down in southern Alberta with a bee company down there. They run 15,000 hives. I walked into their facility, and Echo was her name down there. So she was the one that I managed to touch bases with. What an absolute incredible facility. The way it was set up, the professionalism of the company, the friendliness of the individuals, and as I ended up having the fortunate or the good fortune where I got down there. She knew I was coming. I shared my Google Maps with her, so she knew how far I came and when I was going to get there. She had a coffee ready. She had everything. What an absolute incredible company. What a great connection that I made, and I would not have made that if I wouldn't have had to make some panic calls, if you will. And their honey house was immaculate, absolutely immaculate. But to find somebody that's running 15,000 hives, not 1,500,
That's unimaginable.
15,000 hives. And here's the best part. Here's the absolute best part. As I was sitting down having a coffee with her, I was explaining to her, and I'm this big, right? Well, this big compared to them, and she totally 100% understood. And she says, you know what? We started the exact same way you're doing it 15 years ago with 150 hives. Now they're running 15,000 hives. I don't know how many people they have. Like their coffee room looked like a 5-star hotel. Great big long table, all the big commercial coffee pots. I don't know how many people they must employ, but just and you know what, Chandler? No, actually, I'm going to get the name. Hang on one second here. I'm going to get the name for you guys because.
Well, what sounds good about this is that you were telling me where you were trying when you were starting out here a year or so ago, talking to the commercial guys in your area. They were just stuck their nose up in the air and said, "Screw you."
They wanted to have nothing to do with me, but Scandia Honey Corporation. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yep.
Yeah, we can see it's clear.
But absolutely, yeah. And here's the best part too. So she phoned me. Well, I guess she texted me to make sure I got home safely. She phoned me to see how the queens are doing. She's followed up. Now, she gathered these queens for me relatively quickly, and there was a couple cages that didn't get snapped closed in the box that came up. So there was, I think there was three queens that got out, and I think the queens that got out fought, so there was only one left alive, and I think they killed 2 in the cage. Not a question, not even so much as I will refund you or replace them. What do you want? And not even a blink, like not just. That's what I would expect. That's what I'm trying to build. That's the company and the reputation I'm trying to build and I'm trying to get going. But just to see.
I guess we know where you get your queens next year.
If I need them early, absolutely. I think they.
Well, you will be because you'll have 300 nukes that you're going to have.
I don't know if I'll be splitting this early again next year, but it was just so refreshing because, you know, when you put all this down and you have a business plan and you see it up here as to where you want to go, but then you meet somebody that takes exactly where you are and goes forward, and you see that 15 years later. Oh, okay, there you go. It's just amazing. Like great. So it really it put the spark in me. It really did. It's like, yeah, this you know, I've always believed this is going to work, and I always see this is going to work, but now it's like there's absolutely no reason why this can't work. And so
it's, man, one day if I could ever figure out this crazy South Carolina climate, you know, with and get it pegged down, which has been kind of difficult for me. Hopefully I'll be able to see the success you guys are seeing at some point. But you know, right now I'm happy with the level I'm at and especially with the time that I have available to be able to work what I've got. You know, it is what it is. It is growing. Like all the splits, you know, like I said, they're just now to the point to where the queen's going to start laying, or the queens are laying, but now they're brood. They should start growing from this point, which is right. Hey, great, right when the honey flow is starting to start up, so they should be good time for them. So it's oh, here you go. Ian asked another question. Where do they source their queens?
New Zealand. I think they bring them in from New Zealand, and gorgeous queens. Like they're gorgeous queens. So and for a queen to come out of the cage, and so they were. I guess it was Sunday that I put them in there. What is today? Wednesday? Thursday? Working a shutdown. Things go by quickly. So in Thursday, for them to be out in the hive and have 1.5 frames of eggs laid up, great.
Brad, what are you looking for on your storyboard?
Storyboard. Storyboard is what people making movies make. Story frame. Story frame. What am I looking for? Well, the first thing I'm looking for in the spring is I want to watch that and see if they're starting to lay some drones in there, because then that gives me a really good idea of this, if this colony is getting their groove on or not. If and again, I look at these colonies and there's 100 of them there, so I can judge them against their peers. I don't necessarily, because I'm fairly new beekeeper still, so I don't necessarily look at one colony and say, this is how I'm going to judge this colony. I'm going to judge that colony against all the other colonies. So if I've got 100 colonies and 95 of them are laying up a nice pattern of drones in the story frame, and then 5 of them aren't, then I've got to start asking questions, because I'm thinking that the 95 is probably what's normal and the 5 is abnormal. So that's just the first thing I'm looking for in those frames this time of year.
Interesting with your story, board, Brad. I think I put that video out on my channel. It's been a gong show, but
I just chuckled at that. That's all.
I did make. I used your storyboard, and I made one, and I dropped one in every hive. I'm trying to stretch my comb, right? Trying to stretch it as much as I can. So I dropped one in every single hive. Out there tonight, the foundation is completely drawn, the side is completely drawn, and it's all drawn with brood or drone comb. And it's like, Brad said it was going to do this, and away it goes. So
that's wild. So I guess when you're asking, are they going to draw comb on what you're feeding them, I guess the answer is yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're definitely drawing comb on what I'm feeding them. In fact,
now, what color is that comb? Well. Is it really nice and white? Is it snow white comb?
It is white comb.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
if it's not white comb, and the reason I asked that question for anybody might be, wondering, is produced comb is snow white and recycled comb is not. Recycled comb they might grab from somewhere else in the colony, in the hive, will it'll be brown. Off white. It'll be a yellow or brown.
Got it. Yeah, no, it's so snow white.
Why I ask.
It's snow white. So I'm about to actually, before I head south, Alan's dipping boxes for me tonight, and then I'm gonna zip out here and make some more frames. Basically, I'm gonna have enough that I can drop another box on top before I head south here, early May, and hopefully they'll be, I'll drop the box on there, I'll drop a bucket on there, and they should be good for the week that I'm gone. See how much more comb.
Hey, you're talking about boxes and stuff. Well, I don't know, milestone so much. Finished 140 of my underpinnings on my pallets today.
Awesome.
So I've only got 20 more underpinnings to make, and then I can flip over and start building the top parts.
Well, if
So
it's any consolation, after we did these splits and we're seeing what these bees were doing, um, Alan and I are talking about how many more pallets do we think we could build, and, and and how quickly can we build them, right? And then here you go again. Well, okay, now you got the pallets. Well, now I need more boxes. Well, I got the boxes. Now I need more frames. It's like, yeah, where do we go? Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like you know what?
oh
Next
yeah,
time,
I can imagine splitting right now. This is insane. It's a month before I split.
I'll well, if it's what's the next one? I guess Tuesday night, eh, guys?
Yep.
So
No, Charlie's tomorrow night.
Charlie's tomorrow night. If I can get off early enough tomorrow night, Charlie, what I'll do is um, I'll see where we're at because I do have to do boxes and stuff like this too. My wax dipping tank is sitting in a buddy's garage, so he's probably wanting me to get it out of there. But which turned out fabulous, by the way. It's working incredible. Um, what I'll do is maybe I'll try to stop by on the way out, and we'll do a little bit of a live from the apiary, so you guys can see what these nukes are doing. Like it is.
Yeah, that was like Mark Miller. He did a live on my show last Friday where he was in the cell builder,
Yeah.
and he got, what was it? He had 32 cells crafted. He had
He grafted 32 and he had 29.
29, and they were good looking cells.
And
You
and
know.
if anybody can pick out what I'm doing right, this is gonna sound bad. Please tell me because I really want to duplicate this. You know, but
CO2. CO2.
well, I'm not going to say that, but here is some interesting facts. So I have managed to get through, and I did a mite wash on every hive. I wasn't going to do it. I'll be honest. Initially, I was going to wait a little bit because I didn't want to take that little cup of bees out of every hive, but I got no shortage of bees. So I did a wash on every single hive. So 76 mite washes I did. You guys will laugh at that video because I was getting my groove on as I was shaking these bees. I got one mite. I found one mite out of 76 washes. So I
Just shows you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
well that's
You're
good.
shaking the mics
Well,
wrong.
and here's part of the problem I had because the only place I could gather the bees from was right over top of at that time it was eggs and larvae, right? That's usually you try to do it close to the brood or the hatching brood, but all I had was eggs and larvae. So is it possible that maybe that's the wrong place? It absolutely is, but is that part of what's helping me? I don't know.
I don't know. It's like for myself. I mean, we were talking to, what his name is, Andrew Bob.
Yeah, for Andrew Munn.
And I said, I dropped in 4 gallons of Apis sugar water in the fall out of the rest of that was before I got the Apis. I put some more sugar water in, and then we did a national honeybee survey, and my mite load was 0.2, which is less than 1%. And so he was saying, I said, well, the only thing I can know is that maybe I kind of between the Apis, to me, is like I told him, I said, your Apis is turning my sugar water into almost 99% pure nectar, you might say.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of it. And then you have the low mite count. And I think, to me, for somebody that's, never, there's beekeepers that were pre-Varroa. I said, I think we're seeing what they used to see, is that their problem was they had too many bees.
Right.
And I'm looking at my hives, which are just overwhelmed with bees because of low mites and good nutrition.
I was just going to say, Bob, can you bring up that comment of Ian's there, that no mites, clean comb, good queens? I just triggered on something as he put that up there. And here's, I'm going to ask you guys a question on this one. And Ian, if you're still listening, let me know. Because clean comb, all of my comb was brand spanking new from last year. Is that
that's not
a
going to
key?
hurt you.
Is that
That's
a
not
key
gonna hurt you.
factor that is helping me here right now? Like I wonder if that's playing a good portion of this.
What about sprays and stuff like that? Farming, where they're, around here we have no-till farming. Up there, what kind of farming is there up in your area?
Well, it's canola. There's a lot of the canola around. I my apiaries last year were right around a hay field and a silage field, so alfalfa, clover, things like that. So they don't spray that, but I never thought about the
Like
comb, but
alfalfa around here, they used to have the spittle bug, is what we call it.
yeah,
Used to,
but
have to spray
yeah,
for that occasionally, but
but I'm thinking
Well, there definitely is, James. There's definitely is a residual if there's a viral issue in a colony. There definitely is a residual viral load on comb. So yeah, the new fresh comb is certainly not doing you any harm, and it can't do you anything but good things. So that's likely one. Is it making all the difference? I doubt it. Is it one component that's good? I mean, I kind of went through the same thing, and as time goes on, then things sometimes settle into a less than perfect place. Um, well,
Well, that's
yeah,
interesting that you said that, because I had someone that came and bought some nukes from me this year, and last year they bought some queens, and they did a mosquito spray near where she lived, and she lost all of her colonies. So this year she bought packages through the bee club, and she gave them her packages all brand new foundation frames and foundation, brand new, except for one package. She used one frame drawn comb in there, and that was the only package that she had that died. It died like right away. So it absolutely, it would play something in there, right? Residuals.
well, and I did sit in Bob Binney's down at Hive Life. I did sit into his his speech and stuff like that. Ian had just mentioned that, absolutely. So I just kind of clued in on that when Ian put that up there. I'm thinking, I'm thinking that is definitely like Brad said. I think that's definitely a huge contributing factor to me here. That's definitely helping me out. And I've been looking to see like what's different this year, but all of my equipment last year was new. All of my comb is new. My genetics are from my queens. Like everything that I have there is my genetics in my apiary. The queen, I buy queens, like I did this year, just for the nukes. But I keep my own genetics, and I'm gonna obviously stay to that line. It's working well, but the comb is definitely something I didn't think about.
Well, guys, it is coming on 11:30 here Eastern time. I have to work tomorrow. Charlie has to work tomorrow.
yeah,
You guys have to work tomorrow.
I got another week and a half of shutdown, so it's I'm only a week in. It's going to be another long week and a half.
But we definitely appreciate you guys stopping in and spending your 2 hours and 45 minutes with us. Babbling about
always a
bees.
good time.
Hopefully we'll see y'all tomorrow night.
Yep. And tomorrow night is over on Charlie's channel. So what time 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
I actually got to make up the notification before I go to bed. So
I don't know what time I'll be off tomorrow, Charlie, but I will try to be off early enough to maybe swing by the
that's
apiary
fine.
there and then show you kind of what I got going on. It is a very, very crowded apiary right now.
And
Nice
if you
to see,
need
isn't it?
Opus, order from my website.
There you go.
That's why we do. I've got tons of it.
So as far as your
Tons.
apiary, you only have one. You only have one location right now, right?
Well, I actually have multiple, but what I did is I put them all in one location, knowing that I was coming out of there, going into the shutdown. So that apiary is about 12 minutes from my house. And then, of course, I dropped all my 6-way or 6-frame 3-way pallets in there and split all the bees into that too. So you're damn near tripping over pallets or bees to get to bees. It's extremely crowded there.
I don't see how you get it all done between working the amount of hours you do at work, regular work, and do all this bee work on top of that.
Well, nobody said I was smart. I've never.
Well, it's
claimed to be
11:30.
smart.
It's 11:30 now, so it's what 9:30 your
9:30.
time,
9:30 here. Yep.
and then you're going to go out after this talk and work
I'm
another.
going to
couple
put
more
about 100
hours.
frames together. Yep.
And then you got to get up at 5 in the morning,
Correct.
or be at work at 5 or whatever. Got more energy than I do. Well,
No rest for the stupid.
We do it with the eventual break you'll get, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Supposedly.
Well, it'll come. It'll come.
Well,
That's
like I
crazy,
say, we'll
man.
see. Hopefully, see everybody tomorrow night.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to end the broadcast now, so I appreciate all you guys. Ian, don't be a stranger. You're always welcome to click the link and jump in with us and, contribute to our shenanigans. And we will talk to you guys.
Or come into the green room.
Yeah, or even just come hang out with us after the stream. So,
Have a good night, everyone.
all right, good
See
night,
ya.
guys.
Later.
And